Closed by her voice, it cannot save us, but it can remind us survival is a butcher's goal. All hands to the pathos. Let the credits bend the plastic stick and break the interior tube. The reaction emits light but not heat. The tragedy of dialectics. Sand-sized particles of revolutionary possibility fall constantly without our knowledge. The Capitol lawns sparkle with poison. Since the world is ending, why not let the children touch the paintings? The voice of Nina Simone contains its own negation like a pearl. As brand names drift towards the generic, we drift towards fascism, a life in common replaced with its image. The predicates are glass. I blew them. I'm sorry, sorrier than I can say on such a tiny phone. You're breaking up, no, down. I held the hand of a complete stranger during takeoff, unaware it was my own, laying bare the ideological function of numbness. Felt silence, a sudden inability to swallow, the dream in which the face is Velcro, describing the film in the language of disaster, the disaster in not finishing sentences, removing the suicide from the speed dial, failing to recognize yourself in the photo, coming home to find a circle of concerned family and friends. It's more of an artist's colony than a hospital. It's more of a vitamin than an antipsychotic. Collective despair expressed in I statements, the dream in which the skin is stonewashed denim, running your hand through the hair of an imaginary friend, rising from bed, dressing, returning calls, all without waking, the sudden suspicion the teeth in your mouth are not your own, let alone the words. She handed me a book. I had read it before, dismissed it, but now in the dark I heard the little delays. If you would speak of love, stutter like rain, like Robert, be unashamed. Let those who object to that's familiar rage. It isn't a system, it is a gesture whose power derives from its failure, a child attempting to gather us into her glitter-flecked arms. It isn't a culture of fear. When a people pats itself on the back with a numb hand, it isn't a culture at all. Take a position, cut it off, leave the rings, the president, but you promised you wouldn't mention. I saw myself in the mirrored lenses. You cannot kill a metonym of his bodyguards. I'm moving to Canada when I wake up. You mean if. No concept of clockwise rotation can be described on the surface continuously, so this might take a while. Bring a book. Have you tried breaking it into triangles or changing hands? No handedness, fascia, a tangent bundle. Can we unfold what we can't figure, not without making cuts? Orient me, for the night is coming, amphichiral, manifold, and looped. We have no reason to hope. But what's reason? What's reason got to do with it? Accent, not duration. Cantillation, not punctuation. And that's love. Why not speak of it as we are drawn up into the rising toroidal fireball? This column of powdery light is made possible by Boeing. But what, and here's where people start disappearing, made Boeing possible? By complex, I mean my intention is drawn downward to the bottom of the cloud. It hurts me when you listen too closely, smothering reference, carefully decanted, left to breathe. That's criticism. The subject rises to the surface, bursts. All light paths from the object to the image are reversible, and that hurts to know it didn't have to be. I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoy killing. Birds were these little ships that flew and sang. There are some cool pics online. Funny, strange, not ha-ha funny, how the black canvas grows realistic, a bird's eye view of their disappearance, wave after wave of deja vu. After the storm, the sky turns night vision green, the color of murder. I can hear the soldiers marching in my pillow, even in Canada. Her literature is irrelevant to October, Anna of all the Russias, whose body was an ideal October that has yet to obtain a face. October approached asymptotically by tanks. The leaves turn night vision. Anna, do you see how the sand-sized particles of the true October rise from the asphalt like fireflies whose bodies are night vision? Neither do I, the irrelevant I, the I of all. It will develop recursively, or not at all, the new closure, in lieu of fixed outlines modulating color. If concentrated light strikes the leaf, part is reflected through the droplet, producing a white glow around the genre. It's like the whispering gallery. The fighter pilot sees his shadow on the cloud, crossed with the wailing wall. We can't distinguish rounds of ammunition from applause. Speak plainly. Keep your hands on the table. Do not flee into procedure. Do not wait for a surpassing disaster to look your brother in the eye and speak of love. Make no mistake, the disjunction stays. Do not hesitate to cut the most beautiful line in the name of form, the bread of words. Look for me at genre's edge. I'm going there on foot. I dyed What's-Her-Face's hair with lime Kool-Aid, so when I read Bezzing Meadow, I lent her aspect to the green-haired spirit. There is a girl trapped in every man-made lake. She will pull you into your reflection. Stephen tells me What's-Her-Face, who used to sleepwalk into the snow, piss her name and glide back to bed without waking, was thrown into this poem through a windshield. Once she gathered me into her glitter flecked. I don't care if aspect is archaic. Once she walked into the sliding door, a plane announced through disappearance. You made it this far without mentioning Topeka, glass in her hair, patterns of. I will throw my voice like a clay pot, keep her ashes there. I don't care if love. I don't deny the influence, but it's less a relation of father to son than a relation of moon to tide. Plus, my teachers are mainly particles bombarding gold foil or driving rain. It's the motion, not the material, not the nouns, but the little delays. A gender crossed, a genre crossed on foot by Marvin Gaye, the filicide. Strong misreadings arise on the surface, burst. It didn't have to be. If I rise from table, if I wander discalced through the sparkling lawns, if I'm lost in Juarez in Topeka, if it's winter in August when the Projomata, when the birds cite the past in all its moments, there is no need for examples, police, doctors. Let me walk to the edge of the genre and look out into nothing. I will return. The fit will return me in time for coffee and oranges. Authority derived from giving it away is how I define aura, like Zukofsky's paper flowers picked from Capital for Celia's hair, priceless. The high reflective ceilings allow us to receive our own applause. When an audience takes a bow, that's fascism, a looped encore, surface effects. The auditorium is a standing wave, a sedimented roar. The entire system weighs about 2 pounds. A small bird governs the atria. You dream, the donor's dreams. The donor's breath breaks your lines across their prepositions, halved and polished to display the crystal back formations. Go in fear of abstraction, but go. Be gone by morning. There is nothing, you don't need a shell, just cup your hand. Nothing for you here but repetition. Thank you very much.